Hey everyone, my name is Dylan Pace. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Canada, grew up in Alberta, now currently live out in Ontario. And this is my application video for the 2020 First Phorm Sponsored Athlete Search. Currently, I work in the military in the Canadian Infantry. However, depending on when you see this, that might not be the case, as this summer I will be a civilian for the first time in almost 5 years. The reason for this is I've reached a turning point in my life where I have decided to commit myself to helping others achieve their goal. Before I get into that though, I think it's important I share a bit of who I am. And I put a lot of thought into that when, deciding what I was going to do as a video, what I was going to talk about, what it is about me that is First Phorm. And I thought back to college. I thought of a question my professor asked me, and the question went, who are you that people can't perceive from you? Without your physical attributes, without your age, your race, your bank account, or anything physical about you, who are you as a person? And it came back to my mind when I prepared for this video, because at that age, it committed me to finding out who I was and who I wanted to be. Not what others expected, not what others could perceive, but who I was. So that is what I aim to bring to you. Now, it's impossible to tell you that or have you understand who I am without going into a bit about my story. So I grew up in a family of 9 kids. Yes, 9. And I was the middle. So it made for quite the upbringing. We grew up in the country, grew up in either an acreage or a farm, depending on what year it was. And having 5 brothers and 3 sisters, things were definitely competitive. That is basically what led me into fitness in general, coming from sports. I started with pretty well anything you could do within sports, hockey, football, snowboarding, anything active, I was all over it. So that brought me to the weight room when I was 13, 14. But that initial instinct of going to the gym for, getting better in sports or getting stronger or getting bigger quickly subsided with what I actually am passionate about fitness to this day. And it was more the mental than the physical. It was that one spot, regardless of throughout the years I had, that I could go to no matter what was going on in my life. And throughout my teens, I moved, I believe, a total of 7 times. Following my father's illness, we kind of bounced towns, I bounced schools, I bounced friend groups. But fitness was the common. It was the thing that lasted the whole time. It was the one spot, even in a family of 9 kids, that it was my own, it was my thing. But I'm gonna get more into my fitness journey a little bit later. And because what I want to focus on is, again, what led me to where I'm at now, what led me to me sitting in front of a camera telling you why I should be the sponsored athlete. So like I said, throughout my high school years, bounced around a lot, and really I was on my own at 17. That was okay with me. I liked the independence, I liked taking on life. I went on into the oil rigs for a short period in northern Alberta, as many of us do. And then I went into college. I studied police studies, and honestly, I kind of found my rhythm. I found my rhythm within fitness. However, college was also that point in my life that helped me discover the answer to that question, who I was. Even at the end of my first year, I spent about a month living out of my car. I didn't have any money, I didn't have really any idea what I was doing, but I knew that I needed to finish off that year to go into being a forest firefighter within Alberta. I worked within the Rappel division, and I mean, it was pretty well everything it sounds like. It was rappelling out of helicopters, it was fighting fire, it was fantastic. But it was something that really showed me the difference between chasing something that you feel like you should do and something you're passionate about. It was that first taste of a job where I woke up in the morning and I was happy with what I was doing each and every day. But moving on, what led me into the military and to where I'm at now, I enlisted after about 3.5 years of firefighting into the military. And it wasn't something I wasn't exposed to. I have a brother that serves, I have a couple of cousins that serve, as well as my grandfather and his 2 brothers serving within World War II. But what you don't realize, no matter how exposed you are to the military, you don't really know what it's like until you get it. With that, and a lot of people, probably the most common question you get when you tell someone you're in the military is to ask, why'd you sign up? What made you do it? What made you choose that life? And I see it in two ways. I see it as the before I signed up and after I got in. Because before it was the more cliche things, and it really was, that was my reasoning. I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me. I wanted to, and the way I saw it was, if I was willing and I was able to serve, I felt the duty to do so. I felt the duty to give a portion of my life to something bigger than myself. But then there's the other half of once you're in and once you get a taste of the life and you get a taste of what it's all about. And really what kept me in and what kept me motivated for it was always the call to the country, but it was the person to my left and my right. It was the guys and the girls that I served with over the years, and the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the all-encompassing that you're in it together. It didn't matter if you were in a trench for 2 weeks straight and you barely slept and you hadn't seen the sun and it was cold and wet and miserable, but you have a buddy to your left, your right, and you can make a joke at least a couple times a day and find a little bit of enjoyment. Somehow it was a lot more attainable, and it's why everyone I know, it's why they stayed in for. So throughout the time, to summarize, I guess, with the time in the military, I worked as a paratrooper within the airborne division. I did one tour to the Middle East. I've helped with floods, and I've done countless training exercises and courses and everything else. But that's not the focus of the video. I have a hard time really talking about it because it's not what I did, and I don't do it for the recognition. I don't do it for being able to talk about it. Because to me, I always look at the men and women that have given more. The people that have given their lives, that have given, limbs off their body, and the ones that never came home. It's, for me to talk about my experiences is a flash in the pan compared to what some people have given. So moving on from my time in the military into why I'm here now applying to First Phorm, and why it's a seemingly drastic change, and I felt it, so I can imagine how it seems hearing it. And a conversation I've always played over in my head was that eventually, after the military, after that, I wanted to end my career or my time of working within the fitness industry. It was what I was always passionate about. It was one thing that I knew that if I could make no money doing it, but I could make a life out of it, I would still do it. It was what I cared about. And with that, I came from fairly simple beginnings. We didn't have a ton growing up. With 9 kids on a farm, that was money and spotlight and that stuff was never even on my radar. And if anything, I was deterred from it because of that. I never needed a lot. I wanted purpose more than I wanted anything. And that, as a whole, led me to, in November, with my sister Miranda, we actually started our own online personal training business, Armor Fitness, and we started from there, from 2 computers, actually 1 computer at the time, and I bought my first laptop since college, 6 years. I've been a bit of an anomaly. For basically my entire time within the military, I didn't have social media. I wasn't online. I wasn't following anything really. But that's how I was. It wasn't on my radar. It wasn't my focus. Again, I was giving all of my energy to what was my focus at the time. So stepping out into this and stepping in front of a camera right now, and it's nothing I would normally do if I didn't believe in the process, if I didn't believe in what I was doing. Ultimately, applying for a sponsored athlete position, I should probably talk about how I train. Over the years, my approach to fitness has never been set in one way of training. I have done bodybuilding style training, I have done CrossFit, I have done endurance running, I've done sprinting, I've done sports. My overall take at it was if there was some way out there to take it further and be better myself, I wanted to know it. So if I heard of a new style of training, if I heard of a new concept, I needed to research it, I needed to dive into it, and I needed to see what was applicable to me and my goals. And that's the same way I take to my own clients. It's that fitness is extremely individual. Your goals are individual. What you want out of it is yours. And as a trainer, that's a big responsibility to find out what that person wants, what their goals are, and try to best bring them those results. Because at the end of the day, it's them that puts in the work. But they are entrusting you, they're entrusting me to have that knowledge, to have that insight into what they need and what is going to help them. And ultimately, that is where my passion lies. Because for me, regardless, obviously everyone likes the physical aspect of fitness. Everyone likes the way you look and feel from it. But for me, I've always loved the process. And that is what I tell my own clients, is what I tell as many people that will listen. If you don't love the process of what you're chasing, you're never going to get to the end result. So that brings me to, I've talked about a lot about me and where I'm at in my journey, but why First Phorm? Why me and why First Phorm? I came across First Phorm fully because of Andy. And the way I came about him was actually through a YouTube video. It was a voiceover, it was a speech compilation. And his voice distinctively stuck out to me. And it was enough to spark, okay, who is that? And then the next thing I knew, I found his podcast. And eventually leading to me finding First Phorm. And he was someone that resonated with me in the way that he could actually, his perspective on it, his inspiration. And for me, finding out that, okay, this person inspires me. He runs a supplement company, and getting more into First Phorm and realizing what he's actually doing for the industry, I was blown away. And with that, it made me realize that, I couldn't tell you who owns most companies that I buy my stuff from. I couldn't tell you who owns the clothing company for the jeans I buy, or who owns the company I bought my truck from. I couldn't tell you what their name is, I couldn't tell you what they look like, I couldn't tell you what they stand for. So to find someone that runs a company like First Phorm and is out there in front of it, telling you who he is, telling you what they stand for, and on top of that to have an atmosphere like family, I was sold. And for me, I'm the hard sell. I'm the person that, if I don't need it, I ain't buying it. So when it comes to buying into a company and to buying into a belief and the way they conduct themselves, that, to me, that resonated. That's something that I was willing to put my values into. So for me, the realization that I connected with the actual company and their environment and their beliefs and core values, before I even ultimately knew a lot about it, about the company, and that is what sparked me to dig deeper and find out more and really get involved and ultimately take their values and align my goals with them. That is, for me, that is why First Phorm. Because for a company to move you that way without incentive, and this was before I even knew of the Athlete Search, I just knew it was something I wanted to be a part of. And the change they were making in the industry was the change that I dreamed of making, but starting off it's daunting. But I knew one way or another that is where I wanted to go. So I've talked about a bit about my story. I've talked about, for me, why First Phorm. So I want to talk a little bit about why me. And I'll be honest, for me, this is the hard part. Maybe that should be the easy part, the selling yourself, but for me it's not. It's not my nature, it's not my tendency, but I will do my best to go back to the question I asked at the beginning, or addressed rather, and that is who I am beyond, the age, the job, the location, any of that, who I am as a person. So to all of you at First Phorm, to Andy, to Sal, why me? And I've spent a lot of time over the last month really analyzing what gives me the ability to answer that as accurately and honestly as I can. And the question I asked myself was, how can I earn this opportunity? And would I invest in me? Because if my answer to that isn't an honest yes, I'm not going to insult you by wasting your time, and I'm not going to waste my own time. I want to be sure of myself, and I want to know that I am worth the investment. I am worth the opportunity before I even ask you to consider me. Because I would expect the same respect in return. So, ultimately getting into why me. I am someone who, I don't believe in moderation when it comes to my goals. I don't believe in playing small. I believe in chasing what is right. I believe in doing the extra part that others won't. I believe in going the extra mile. And when it comes to fitness, I believe in fitness. I'm not talking about the industry, I'm talking about the core of what it is. I believe in taking ourselves and bettering ourselves to the next level. And that knowledge, if not shared, well, it's just a thought then. It's nothing. So giving my knowledge that I've learned over the years, what I have been able to pull from my own fitness experience and my knowledge and bring it to others, that to me is one of the highest forms of servitude. You know, I may be new to this. I may be coming from someone that didn't have social media, didn't even have a computer, and I wasn't even really tracking it. But now I'm in, and I'm all in. Ultimately, I am unapologetically me. However, I am Canadian, so I'll probably apologize anyways. At the end of the day, regardless of receiving this opportunity as a sponsored athlete or not, taking this leap and taking this turning point in my life to serve others and help them achieve their goals, I'm jumping in head first. Obviously, I hope it is as a sponsored athlete and I can align my goals and my vision with yours to be able to best serve other people. And I know it won't be easy. I know none of this process will be easy. And I look at other applicants into this process and I am blown away. I am inspired by them. And I hope the best for everyone involved in this process. But I don't expect it to be easy. And ultimately, I wouldn't want it to be. I don't want my purpose to be something that was the path of least resistance. I believe in taking it the hard way. I believe in fighting the fight. So, whether you invest in me or not, I'm not going anywhere. I am in this new life for good. And that is the same loyalty I will bring to First Phorm, in the same way I bring to every day within my own fitness journey. So to all of you at First Phorm, to Andy, Sal, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your consideration. And I thank you for what you do day in and day out as a company and as individuals. I am honestly humbled to even be able to apply for this position. And I am excited to see where it may lead. My name is Dylan Pace, and I am First Phorm.